Hello students and namaste everyone. I am Dhaval sir and our today's topic is your standard 9 supplementary reader number 4 in the Kingdom of Fools, right, by A.K. Ramanujan. So this is a Kannada folk tale, right? Now folk tale means what? So folk tale is a story which is passed on from one generation to another, and Kannada is a regional language mainly spoken in the Karnataka. Okay, so this uh, story is taken from the folk tales from India, and as I said, the writer is A.K. Ramanujan. So first of all, we'll discuss about the title of the story, that is In the Kingdom of Fools, which means this story is about a state or a place where people are not so wise, they are not intelligent, right? And in this story, the king, his ministers, and his advisors are fools, that is stupid or uh, not an intelligent people, right? So that means they are not very wise, and when this kind of people they rule the kingdom, what all happens has been described in this story. Okay, so we'll start with the explanation of this chapter in short. Okay, I'll explain you the story. uh, this story is actually a very interesting story about a kingdom which was run by a foolish king, and one day one saint and his disciple, right? One saint and his disciple reached this kingdom, right? The name of the kingdom is not given, so they reached this kingdom. The saint was surprised, or I can say astonished. Why the saint was surprised? Because he saw the people of this kingdom, they were sleeping during the night, and they were sleeping during the daytime, and they were working during the night, right? So it was a very surprising thing, right? Because normally or usually we people sleep at night and we work during the daytime, but here it was exactly opposite. The people, they used to work during the night time, and during the daytime they used to sleep. So he got disturbed, the saint. As the saint was very wise, we know that this people who are saint and religious people, they are very wise and intelligent. So he got disturbed to see another different thing in this kingdom, which was that the food items in this kingdom costed the same, that is one dudu. Dudu is the currency, right? We can say 1 rupee or 1 paise. Similarly, one dudu. So whatever thing, right, whatever food was purchased in this kingdom, and that all food was costed one dudu. Okay, so he realized that it was a kingdom of fools, and therefore he thought that this was not the right place for them to stay over there for a longer time, and therefore he ordered his disciple to leave this place immediately. But his disciple did not leave with his guru, as he was very much attracted, right? He got very much attracted uh, by the abundance of cheap food. That means he was very he liked food, eating food too much, and therefore he got too much attracted. He thought that this is the best place, because whatever food he purchased, it costed only one dudu, right? So the saint left the place immediately, but his disciples stayed over there only. And on a bright day, uh, a thief, right, a thief broke into, right, on one fine day, on a very bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. So this is from where the story begins, right? So there was a thief who broke into, that means he entered the house of a rich merchant, and was trying to carry out robbery over there. What he was doing, he was trying to carry out robbery over there. And when he was trying to loot the house, immediately there was a wall from where he had entered which fall on him. It was the old wall which fall on him, and that thief died on the spot, right? So his brother, right, his brother approached the king for justice, right? He claimed that thief's brother, he said the king that his brother was committing their ancient trade of theft, and during that the wall of a man's house fell on him and he died. So this is what the thief's brother is complaining to the king, right? Actually theft is a crime, but as we know that it is the kingdom of fools, the king is not giving any kind of reaction on this robbery, right? And so therefore instead of scolding, or instead of telling the thief's brother that it is a crime and he should be punished, on the contrary to that, the king summoned, that means he gave the order to call all the people who were involved in the death of the thief, right? So first of all, the king summons or calls. Summon, S-U-M-M-O-N, that means to call. So he gave the order to call the rich merchant whose wall had fallen on the thief, right? He calls the thief, he calls the rich merchant at his court, and he blames the rich merchant that due to your fault, that means your house wall was very old enough, and due to that this thief has died, so you must be punished. But the rich merchant was intelligent enough, and therefore he gives the excuse. He tells the king that no, please forgive me, it is not my fault, I have not built the wall, it was the fault of the person who had built the wall. That person had actually not built the wall properly, and that was the reason it fell on the thief. Then the king says that right, it is a right thing, it is not the fault of the rich merchant, it is the fault of the bricklayer who had actually built the wall. So therefore the king orders his people to get hold of the bricklayer, who was now a very old man. Then the bricklayer was called to the court, and again the king says the whole story and tells him that as you did not build the wall properly, the thief died, and therefore you are guilty, right? And you should be punished. So again, even the bricklayer says that, my lord, it is not my fault, right? He says that when I was building this wall, there was a young girl whose anklet were tingling, that means the sound of anklet was coming, who was continuously passing here and there from the house where I was building the wall, and due to that I could not concentrate, and my concentration was totally on that girl, and due to that the wall could not be built properly. And he says that it was the fault of that girl, as she was moving continuously over there, and therefore the wall was not built in a proper way. Then the king says, right, it is not the fault of the bricklayer, now call the young girl who was continuously moving over there. And actually it was way back when the wall was built, so after many years the wall had fallen. So when this young girl was called, she was actually an old lady, means many years had passed, and therefore this young girl had been transformed, or she had become old, Okay, and when this old lady came to the king's court, again she was told about the whole story, and she was told that as you kept on moving again and again from the place where this wall was being constructed or the wall was being built, this bricklayer could not concentrate because of the tingling anklet, and therefore the wall was not built in a proper way, and due to which the thief was dead, and therefore you are guilty. So again, what this young girl, this old lady actually was a young girl, told that it is not my fault, my lord. I kept on moving again and again from that place due to the goldsmith to whom I had given my jewelry, and he was such a lazy fellow that he did not give my jewelry on time, and he continuously told me to come there again and again to get my jewelry. So the king thinks that right, she is not the actual guilty person, and then he orders the goldsmith to be present in the court. And when the goldsmith comes to the court, the goldsmith is being held guilty for making this girl come to his place again and again and not completing the work on time, due to which she had to again and again visit him. So at that time, again the goldsmith is saying that, sorry my lord, it is not my fault. I could not complete the girl's order just because I had received the order of a rich merchant at whose place there was a wedding. And as you know, this rich people, he is saying like this, and he is saying that I was forced to complete the work on time of that rich merchant, due to which this lady's work could not be completed. On finding out who that rich merchant was, it was found out that the rich merchant was none other than the person from where the robber had died. That means it was he was the father of the rich merchant at whose house the thief had tried to loot. Right? So the king asks for his father, but as he was dead, the king says that someone needs to be punished for this crime, and he discusses with the ministers, and he decides that as the rich merchant's father has already died, at whose time the wall was built, right? So he says that as you have inherited all his money and all his property, even the punishment of your father will be given to you, right? And the rich merchant is caught by the ministers of the king, and then he is ordered to be given punishment, right? And so therefore for him a stake is prepared. Stake means a place where this person is to be hanged, right? So what is happening when this person was about to be hanged, the ministers, they find that this stake is not suitable for this rich merchant. Why? Because the newly prepared stake was bigger than the rich merchant, because the rich merchant was a very thin fellow and he was not suitable to be held in this stake. So again the king thinks that what is to be done, and he discusses with his ministers. Then he comes to a conclusion that ultimately he needs someone to be held liable for this, and he needs someone who can be fitted in this stake. So he orders his ministers to find some person who is fat enough to be fitted in this stake. And therefore when the ministers, they go in search, they find one person who was very fat enough and who could easily fit in this stake. And that person was none other than the disciple of the Guru. Right? So that disciple is brought to the king's court, right? And he is ordered to be punished for the crime which had taken place, right? As the disciple had become very fat, so the king's people or men took him, and now the disciple was in trouble, right? What to do and what not to do, he was not able to understand, because these people were all fools, and he didn't knew how to escape from this situation. So this innocent man, that is the disciple, prayed his guru for help, right? And while he is praying to his guru, the guru visualizes that his disciple is in trouble, and the guru reaches that place again, that kingdom again, to rescue his disciple from this difficult situation, right? So he reaches over there, and the guru, as he was very intelligent, he uses his intelligence and wisdom to trap the foolish king, right? That means he made a plan, and he told his disciple about the plan, and he tried to trap the foolish king. So finally they made a plan, and according to that, the king and his ministers got themselves killed by the stake themselves in place of the guru and his disciple. The place of the kingdom, that means the people who lived in that kingdom, when they got to know about the death of their minister and the king, they begged the guru and the disciple to become their new king and the ministers. So after a lot of requests, the guru agreed on the condition that the kingdom would function normally like all other kingdoms did. That means the guru decided to become the king on the condition that all the normal situations will be carried out in the kingdom. That means the work will be done during the daytime, and the people will sleep at the night time, and all the things will be sold as per their value, not at the same rate. So this is how the story gets over or end, right? And as there was a happy ending, and the same way we'll end our lecture over here. And I thank you everyone for watching my video.